formula stands Mary B5 plus Kelly B5 plus Gino B5. It's all set. Fantastic. Notice there's no dollar signs around this cell reference, so it's not an absolute reference, which indicates that I can copy this. And I know that I can copy it down 4, right? I've got 4 cells here. All right, I can also copy this over. Oops, I copied it too far. That's why I have 0. So I'll click delete. So with this relative reference, when I select cell C5, it says, hey, okay, I know you still want Mary, but you want it over a column to C5, and Kelly at C5, and Gino at C5. So I have all this information. And I could just copy this information back to home, copy, back to consolidate, paste it. And I could just type in January and use my autofill for that as well. Whoops, I didn't want April there though. I wanted totals. All right. So I don't have all the formatting because when I copied this one, I got the formatting. When I just typed it in, I didn't get the formatting there. So, hey, it doesn't look as good, but we can use our Mad Excel skills and make it look a little bit better if we wanted to. That's the Format Painter. There we go. And of course, I could select this information and choose to give it dollar signs. So this is the same thing that we did with the Consolidate tool, but now we're doing a basic formula. We have actually a 3D reference here because we're gathering the information from a number of different individuals. There's another way that we could do this 3D reference. I'm going to go to another worksheet here, and I'm going to call it Consolidate. Again, formulas always start with equal. This time I'm going to sum the sheets Mary through Gino in that cell B5, and then I'll do an autofill again. So equal sign, sum, open parenthesis, because we want to take advantage of this built-in function called sum. We need parentheses around the range. What are the sheets we want? Well, we want Mary through Gino. So Mary colon Gino indicates the range of sheets. It's going to grab any sheet that's in between Mary and Gino. If we had 5 sheets in between Mary and Gino, it would grab all of them. We need an exclamation mark to indicate that we're talking about sheets here. We don't need 2, we just need 1 at the end. And now what was that cell address? It was B5, a closing parenthesis. That's our formula. I'll hit enter, $3,400, and I can copy this down again. Oops, copied it too far. And I can copy this over again. There we go. Does it match? 3,400, 201,200, 3,400, 201,200. It worked again. And if I want all those labels easily, I could always do an equal sign and go back and grab Mary's information here and copy it across. Equal sign, grab Mary's information again here, copy it down. There's many different ways that you can do this. I'm just trying to give you opportunities to see all the different ways. In Excel, pretty much in all Microsoft products, there's about 4 different ways to carry out any activity. I am going to press the Save button since I've done some hard work here. Now let's concatenate or consolidate our East and our West regions information. Just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to go back to East. Chances are you'd want a separate worksheet that's just going to gather everything together. I mean a separate workbook. This one, I'm going to put link workbooks because that's something that makes sense for what we're doing. In the real world, you'd want it to make sense for the totals that you were gathering. All right, so I'm going to do one more consolidation of ranges. I'm going to just stick here, cell B5. I'm going to grab the Consolidate tool. I'm going to sum information. Now, what's my reference? Here, my reference is going to be in our Consolidate link. I'm going to gather all this information. Instead of going back and getting all my individuals one by one, I'm going to grab this from the cumulative sales totals. Okay. That looks good. I'll choose Add. I do want the labels to show up. And I want to grab information from a different workbook. Now, I'm not in the same workbook, so I'm going to click Browse and select the file. This is my West Region Sales file. And I do want to grab the range here. Since I have this file open, I could just simply click down here, select my range, okay, add that range. Notice the syntax here. It's actually indicating the name of the file. It's a .xlsx file because it's Excel 2007. It has square brackets indicating the file. It even has a little apostrophe around this whole thing. Consolidate again is the name of the sheet with an exclamation mark, and it has an absolute reference A4 through E8. I'll choose OK. I'm on my Consolidate WBS. I'm going to do some resizing of columns here. By the way, if you select all and then click on the outside, it will resize all of the columns to accommodate the largest value. When I click 2, it will expand everything, and I can see I've got my January, February, March, and totals because I did copy my labels. And here it's saying, well, on your East region sales totals, here are your totals. On your West region sales, here are your totals for batting gloves, and so on down the line. And look at this. I can see overall my total Q1 in my East region and my West region was $403,650. Hopefully that's not too bad for 3 products in the region for 3 salespeople. So we have data in our East region workbook linked from our West region workbook. Let's go in and take a look at these links. It's here on the Data tab in the Connections area, and it's called Edit Links. When I click on this, I can see all the different workbooks or files that are linked to this source file that I have open. Only one. It tells me what it's called. It tells me that I have just a worksheet linked one to another, but of course the workbooks are linked. Update A means automatic update. Here's the location of where it is. Well, what happened if I changed that? I moved it from my documents out to a file server. I could always click on Change Source, and I could do that. I could move this out to, maybe I have a G drive that's out on a file server somewhere. That way I can keep all my formulas the way they are. I just have to indicate that that source file has moved. What if I want to open the source? I can certainly do that by clicking open. It says, you know what, it's already open. We knew that. I don't need to reopen it since it's already open. Let's go back to this Edit Links dialog box here. If I didn't want this link anymore, I could choose Break Link. I could also choose Check Status, and it will make sure that everything's up and running, and it says, hey, source is open. If I wasn't sure, if it wasn't automatically updating, and I knew there were some items that had changed in my West region sales, I could click Update Values, and it will recalculate everything to do with these links. The startup prompt is the last item in this dialog box. When this workbook is opened, Excel can ask the user when they open it whether or not to update links in other workbooks. Do I want my users to go into their options and determine that they don't want to see these alerts at all? Sure, I can do that. But I could also say, hey, you know what? Just don't display the alert and don't update automatic links. Then they could manually choose to go in there and update them if they wanted to. Or I could say, hey, just don't display the alert and update links. I want total control with this. I want it to be updated. I don't want them, my users, to make that decision. Or really, what it boils down to also is be bothered with a dialog box that might confuse them because they've never seen it before. Maybe they don't know the ins and outs of Excel. I'll choose Close. Everything looked okay in that dialog box. Remember, that was on the Data ribbon in Edit Links. And that's something that you're going to see when you do have more than one workbook connected. I'll do one last save here, and we're ready to call it a day. What we talked about in this nugget was consolidating data. The idea is, here in Excel 2007, you might have tons of users that want to update their own information. So you can have workbooks out there on file servers, on SharePoint servers, wherever it makes sense in your organization. They can update their information, and then you or some manager in your department can consolidate all this into one easy-to-read spreadsheet. It's not too difficult to do. You can use the Consolidate Data tool for that. It's right there on the Data ribbon. Or, of course, you can always get in there and make your own formulas. Remember to put the equal sign in front of it and use the appropriate syntax. You have square brackets around the name of the file, and you have an exclamation mark following the name of the sheet. If you do connect more than one workbook together, then you can go in there and edit the links. At any time you can break that link, or you can update the source, or of course you can do a little bit more configuration to make sure that it suits the need. Overall, we were able to manage multiple worksheets, multiple workbooks, and hopefully you feel comfortable with this information. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.